What's up? What's up? What is up? It is another Friday, which means it is another opportunity to get together and record the experience, the thing, the amazing, let's just call it the amazingness that is known as the Ball Hog Sports Talk. That's where sports, business, and entertainment collide, where two businessmen get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. If you have never experienced the Ball Hog Sports Talk, I will say to you from the bottom of our souls here in the Ball Hog Sports Talk world, thank you for joining us. I will then warn you, fasten your seatbelt. Get yourself a nice tall mug of coffee. Make sure that you spike it with whatever you want because the Ball Hog Sports Talk is rough, rugged, and raw. It's sports, it's business, entertainment. It's two businessmen getting together to discuss sports in an entertainment fashion, in a very entertaining fashion. And with no further ado, boys and girls, cats and rats, dogs and frogs, and anything and everything in between, it's Friday. So let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. Once again, it's on. Once again, it is on. I have the amazing distinction to be in front of this microphone with an icon, the man, the myth, the legend, thou who shall be intergalactically known and respected as. When you say it, make sure that you sit up in your chair. Make sure you say it with your chest. Make sure you say it with conviction. From the Middle Coast, he is the Big Flow Shows in the building. What's up, my brother?
Nothing, man. Just thought I would get a sweatsuit that would match my beard. You know what I mean? Bring out the salt and pepper and my, you know what I'm saying?
That's the thing now, man. They call that that's the sex symbol look now. You're supposed to have beard, you know.
I don't want to see any comments if you come one day and my shit all the way black. It just naturally did that.
Mind your business. Mind your business.
Mind your business, right? It just comes. Sometimes it just turns black. I don't know about the salt and pepper.
So you're okay with the dye? If a man chooses to dye his hair, because you have embraced being on the other end of having hair.
I'm on the back nine. So here's the thing I look at, man. Everything you see about a woman when you see her out is fake. Everything. Makeup.
I just became about women. I'm talking about brothers.
Listen up. I'll let you talk. High heels, Spanx. Even the yoga pants be cheap. They threw some stripes in there and make the rump look a little better than it intended. God intended to do.
Emphasis.
Nails, fake nails. What else? Hair, braids, weave, hair color, dye. Why can't I dye my fucking beard? That's the only thing I got I can try to work on. Why can't I dye my beard? Why is that a big deal? My wife hates it. Why? I don't question when you take the grays out of your head.
Hey, now you went too far. I happen to know your better half. See, we're gonna edit that. He didn't say that. He was just joking.
Hey, my wife is beautiful. I'm not saying she's not. I think she'd be beautiful with the grays in her head too. But she doesn't agree, so she puts all type of shit in there. So I want to put something in my face too. I want to maximize. Look, this is a fucking temple right here. I want to make sure that the pews are nice. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't mad at it.
But right now, we're going to go natural for a while. We're going to see how that works for me. I got an appointment today about 1 o'clock. See if they can't tighten me up.
Tighten you up.
Line it up. When it gets lined up, it looks better. But we'll see. Get ready. This is my look for the winter. Keep my face warm during the winter.
I ain't mad at it, man. I ain't mad at it. I got a little gray in mine too. You know what I mean? Act right.
When you think you'll ever be able to grow a beard?
I mean, one of these days, crazier things have happened.
It took me a while. How old are you?
I am 47.
Around 40, 42, I started growing a beard.
It might happen. It might happen.
Man. You can be a
I
little
do
brindle,
notice that
man.
some brothers though do not fully embrace being
Have
on
you
the
been through
bald
puberty
side,
yet?
and so they are growing the hair. You haven't done that, but
On
I
the
digress.
top, it's too far. I let it go too long. I should have started when we got the first 15-yard penalty. I could have tried to make those yards up, but now it's 4th and 80. There's really nothing I can do at this point. All
Watch
I
the
can do is
fake.
punt.
Everybody's yelling, "Watch the fake!" At this point, everybody's
Watch
watching.
the fake.
Watch the fake.
Don't jump. You can jump too. Jump. Fuck it. It'll be 4th and 75. It's just too much. I got to punt. I
Got a
can't do
punt.
it. I
All right, so
got.
everybody knows who's been a part of the Ball Hog Sports Talk world that we do a lot in terms of figuring out what our titles are. Today's episode is going by the title of Henchmen for Hire. I'll say it quickly. We were robbed, man. We went down to the DMV, Maryland, and we got robbed. Took my team down there, and we literally got robbed. There's no other way to say it. Kid made a phenomenal play. Quarterback just run out of bounds, literally just throws it up, and the kid makes a phenomenal. Our cornerback tried to intercept it versus knocking it down. Kid makes an amazing play, but the longest 2 minutes in our lives. Right, the time was just, it's one of those situations where the referee is not, there is no scoreboard with the time on it, so they keep saying he's got the clock. He's got the clock. The play that before the crazy catch, we get a roughing the passer, which is a terrible call. Guy just throws the ball away. He gets pushed in his chest. They call roughing the passer. I asked the ref, like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, he slightly touched his helmet. The exact same play, referee on our side sees the receiver try to step up to the line as the ball snapping, which is a false start. I then say, "Man, how you not going to call that? Look what happened in the play when you don't call it. Now they got a first down because of a roughing the passer." He says, "Well, I mean, I can't call everything. I haven't been calling that motion that you guys have been doing. And I'm an offense coordinator. We only have one motion the whole game. Just complete BS fabricated." So I'm saying all that not to complain because, losing with no time on the clock, with 0, 0, 0 time on the clock, in the grand scheme of things, is a character builder. I literally dropped down to my knees like, what just happened after a tough loss last week? We go on the road, have the number 10 team beat, and we lose with no time on the clock with miracles, a lot of help from the referees. It's going to be a character builder. The crazy part is a lot of you guys see how much energy I put into youth football, whether it be the fundraiser that we have, and I will be including the link to that because it's already over $13,000.
I now expect to win. I done bought my $42 worth of tickets.
You expect to win,
I'm expecting some return on that investment.
but I am a realist. And I look in the camera and say to all of you, despite all the energy that I put in there, despite all of the time and commitment and the love that I have for these kids, I am of no crazy notion thinking that this matters. Youth sports simply does not matter. And to lose a game with 0, 0, 0 on it is actually better than winning in that situation because I get to teach young men, you got to finish the play. You got to finish the game. You got to finish in so many other areas of life. So, we're not going to be ranked. And I have decided in my soul that these last 2 weeks is what God needed us to go through, not only to win a national championship this year, but also to use this year to catapult them into successes well beyond just football, especially youth football, but into life.
I was a youth coach for a long time, and I know how long it took you and how many scotches it took you to come to that conclusion. And I appreciate you because I've been there.
With 0, 0, 0, has that ever happened to you? A walk-off loss? No time.
I don't know. I can't remember.
It hurt. And I had to drive 4 hours back to New Jersey after. So
I always say this, and I really believe it. I would rather get blown out than lose a close one. Blow me out. Because then I just go home and say, yeah, we got what? But you keep thinking, what if he would have just timed the jump 1 second earlier, if he'd have went for the ball, if we would have just tackled the man and took the PI, we could have stopped. That's the worst. I feel for you, my brother. But
Yeah,
you're right.
but it
In the
is what
grand
it is,
scheme of things,
man.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really look, and it does take you to get to a point where you can say that it doesn't matter because you spend so much time on it,
It
right?
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But having said that, and having watched sports over the week, and having seen the most current story in entertainment when it comes to Lil Durk. What was Little Durk arrested for? If you remind me, please. I'm out of the hip hop world.
Murder for
Rap
me
is
too.
it's
Me too.
gone
All these little
beyond me.
chillings. All these
He
little
was hot,
chillings. What they
he was
doing?
arrested for what?
Murder for hire.
Murder for hire.
Yeah, over to King Von. He tried to kill the guy that killed King Von and killed the guy's cousin.
All of that.
All
But
that good
that
stuff.
murder for hire,
For hire. Come get
and
it.
we're going to borrow a line from another 48.
First 48.
First 48, sorry. Another 48 hours is a movie. First 48. Everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty, right? So we're getting away from the legalese of it, but that accusation, murder for hire, brought me to this point. Because there's a lot of referees, including in my game, it seems as though we are hiring these henchmen to literally destroy the game. A referee has an imprint on a game like no other. A referee, whether it be in my game or the WNBA finals or last night in Thursday Night Football, a referee is going to receive compensation for essentially murdering the outcome of a game a lot of times. Now, I am not here to cry foul because at the end of the day, in my position as a youth football coach, in my position being here in front of this microphone and doing my thing with the duo of the Ball Hog Sports Talk, in my position, my job is to tell y'all, life isn't fair. As soon as you accept that notion, as soon as you accept that reality, you can move on throughout the unfairness. But damn, it feels even extra unfair when you know that this person is getting paid for ruining a game. Am I okay with that without sounding as though I'm crying about it? Am I okay there? Big Flo, you know, you can G-check me. But doesn't it
I'm
seem
just gonna
weird
say
that the
this. I'm
same
gonna
guy
say
that
this.
gets paid is ruining the game a lot of times?
They've been cheating since the first Olympics, right? So you just got to be better than that. You can't let the rest make the decision. Shouldn't have came down to it. The guy should have knocked the ball down.
Very
Something
fair.
should have happened. We did whatever.
Very fair.
They're gonna keep cheating. It's gonna whatever. He got his little bread, his little cheese sandwich. You should. The moral of the story is home games. That's the moral story. You don't play away.
Yeah. So you be on the right side of the henchman.
So I found this out in Texas. Texas got to be the most cheating state ever. One of the dads on my son's football team is a high school football ref. Do you know in Texas?
So a dad on your this is youth football?
No, college.
College football. So your son's college football teammate,
His father,
his dad
is
a college referee.
A high school referee in Texas.
High school referee. Gotcha.
Sorry if I said that wrong. High school referee in Texas. Do you know that? So they get hired by the school, right? Do you know they get a piece of the gate?
They get a piece of the gate.
In Texas, if you're a high school coach, high school ref, you get a piece of the gate. But can you say conflict of interest? Like if you make a bad call, they don't bring you back. You missing out on some of that gate. Have you seen some of those stadiums down there?
I have not. Oh well, yes, I have for work
looks like
purposes.
college
I was just in
stadiums.
Houston. I did see a big
You got these $50 million stadiums that you have out here. The gate's got to be pretty nice. I'm sure it's not free to go to those.
So they have a business interest. They have a business interest.
If you mess the call up, I may not call you next week when I need a ref. I cannot think of a more corrupt, horrible. Find a way to give them some of the gate without telling them they got some of the gate. That's all I'll say. It's terrible.
Shameless plug. Y'all see I put it in the comments. I wanted to make sure. First, here, let's do it in this order. I wanted to make sure that the comment section was working. It is working. And now you see that there's the raffle thing there. Y'all support the kids, man. get these kids down the floor to go win us a national championship after 2 heartbreak losses in a row. Y'all support the kids, man. 0-0-0 time on the clock. Lord have mercy, but we're gonna do what we do. My man DP is in the building. What's up, Daryl Porter? His son is doing his thing for the Miami Hurricanes. They're playing some good football right now. We have started the conversation about henchmen for hire. And the henchmen for hire in a lot of these situations are the referees that are charged with regulating a game, the ones that are charged with making the calls, the ones that are charged with managing the clock in youth football, which drives me nuts, right? Because time is such a big part of football. Why is it the time displayed? But oh well, I digress. This week, we have seen a lot of the henchmen for hire have an impact on the game. The Big Flow Show tells us about the state of Texas and them having an interest in the gate. But we have seen this week that a lot of the henchmen have had an impact on the game. Last night in Thursday Night Football, this had to be one of the worst non-calls ever. The Minnesota Vikings are trying to come back. They're backed up in their own territory. So much so that Sam Darnold goes back for a pass. He's in his own end zone, and somebody tries to rip this man's helmet off by the face mask, which I don't know the actual letter of the law when it comes to the rules, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that is the prototype of what you would call a face mask. No call. Instead, they get the sack. The Rams get the sack and essentially puts the game out of reach because now they're down 10 points. The referee after the game says that his positioning was such that he couldn't see the face mask. Now, just like I just talked about I was pissed off when that referee told me, especially now I see the play happen. I see it's roughing. I don't think it's roughing, but also I'm telling the referee on my sideline, like, hey, bro, like, you know that was a false start, man. You got to make that call. You're changing the outcome of games. Last night's no call of the face mask is changing the outcome of the game. The NFL has all these guidelines about what is a reviewable play or not. Where are we at the same time that you have this influx and an embrace of sports betting? So much so that that's one of the anchor sponsors almost of every game. At the same time, you've got this proliferation of refs making horrible calls or non-calls that impact the game. At the risk of sounding like a bitter coach that's still mad about Saturday, at the risk of being a whiny person that takes a position that life is fair, I'm still going to have the conversation. Where are we when we see such impact on the outcome of a game? No, we should not, as coaches, as players, as teams, let it come down to one call. If the Minnesota Vikings would have played better, it shouldn't come down to this non-call in the end zone. Okay. But indeed it has. And these people, they call themselves referees and wear black and white. I like to call them the mafia at times. These people are really impacting games. What say you?
It sucks, you know. You hate when it's just that outrageous and that obvious. Reminds me of a high school game we had in Illinois where it was 4th down. They're trying to run the clock out, and the quarterback throws the ball into the air so that the clock can run out. They called it for intentional grounding, change of possession, 1 untimed down. That's just not the rules, right? I mean,
let's start there. Those aren't the rules.
There's not in anybody's rule book. You can end a game on an offensive penalty. You can't end on a defensive penalty. That's I've been knowing that since I was in like 6th grade, right?
Right.
So they gave the team an untimed down. They kick a field goal and they win the game. So literally, most of the time you can say, well, you could have did this, you could have did this. The game should have been over. The game wasn't over. They kicked the field goal. They go to court, try to sue and everything. It's a playoff game, going to the state championship. This is to go to the state championship game. The other team ends up going to the state championship. I don't think they win, though. I think they lose. But anyway, long story short, like, we can find examples of it where absolutely, without any shadow of a doubt, control the outcome of the game, and we just kind of move on. And that's why I think sports give you so many life lessons. And I think you mentioned this earlier, either on the show or you mentioned this in the prep, where I mean, you have to learn. You know, you lost the game, you learn. This is what can happen. This is the type of hand my kids are learning that firsthand. Unfortunately, now this year's been a big learning year for our household, for myself as well. There's there's just times where things just are unfair, and they show you this things just don't work out. And there's so many parallels between what my kids go through on the court in the field of play that parallel what I go through at work, what I go through with my career, and go through with life in society. You know what I mean? And I guess the example, I'm real petty. For those of you guys who know, I'm a real extremely petty person. So like, if you bother anything that someone I love, I'm real petty on what I do back to you. And I would say I'm working on it, but I really am not. I'm kind of leaning into it. But you kind of corrected me earlier today on actions I should not take because I want to show pettiness. But sometimes you need that, and sometimes you got to drop the parallels.
We're human, man. We're human. For those who are joining us, we appreciate it. I know we're a little later in the day. This is the brunch version of it. Like we ask you every week, please like, please comment, please share, please tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone you know, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then also I ask you, please weigh in. Have you ever watched some of these Henchmen for Hire? What is your example of the worst robbery known to mankind? We have all been a part of it. The same referee that is going to, in youth football, get that cash at halftime. You watch halftime, the referees ain't going nowhere, baby. They waiting on that check. They waiting on that cash to get that handshake. That's when they get their money, their referee fees. If you look at the collegiate and the professional ranks, that NFL referee last night who said he was positioned such that he could not see the face mask, the entire world saw it. They showed it again and again and again on both the Jumbotron and on the television. That man put in his verbiage the statement that he was positioned such that he could not see the face mask, and we all just had to accept it. That is a henchman for hire. That's a murder for hire. You have ruined the outcome of the game because you, sir, and I think I'm talking to the referee last night, not the dude who messed up our game last week. You, sir, thou who shall be paid for said services, are doing a horrible job. When it comes to 13-year-old kids, you do move on. You teach them that life isn't fair, you move on. You do teach them that don't put yourself in that position to be susceptible to a bad call, and you move on. At what point do the referees need to be more accountable? That's my challenge, right? And we'll move on from last night's game because while Sam Darnold has resurrected his career, the Minnesota Vikings have done everything to overcome adversity. Last night's game wasn't a huge splash, but that missed calls was. The other henchman for hire that we got to start talking about is some people went and got some good trades this week. The first one is Devontae Adams to the Jets. Aaron had a lot to say about his players in the past. It has been sort of reported that Aaron is struggling with the culture of the Jets, right? Although they fired Rob Saleh, although there's been a dust up in terms of the roster, Aaron, Mr. Rodgers himself, seems to be at odds with the culture of the entire building. In comes Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams, after the Jets lose 37-15 to a Pittsburgh Steelers team, goes ham in the locker room, yelling at his teammates, saying that we've got to have more juice and energy when it comes to this game. We got to have more love for the game. So I ask you, was this henchman for hire that Aaron Rodgers, the man, the myth, the legend, went and made sure that the Jets brought into that facility? Was it for football or was it for all the other stuff? Because Devontae Adams, I think, has a lot left in his tank in terms of being a
Plenty.
top-notch wide receiver. Yet he went to the Jets. And the Jets, while they are in New York, an amazing media area, and they wear some nice colors, the Jets ain't in nobody's prediction of going to the Super Bowl. Was this just a hire so his henchman is right by him, and now they're going to try to take over the team for next year? Or do you think that Aaron Rodgers now has a formidable target in Devontae Adams? What say you?
I mean, I don't know. Devontae seemed like he had some say in where he went. I don't know that I would have went to the Jets. I mean, he should have picked another squad. He should be down there with the Chiefs. You know, he should have tried to get down there. They're looking for a top receiver. He's a much better receiver than Hop right now in his career.
Yeah, much younger.
Younger and just, I mean, and what they give up for Hop?
I don't know the actual trade. I'm sure they didn't do much. They probably gave up a pack of now laters and some Twizzlers for D Hop. D Hop was on, he's in the twilight years. He went back to the team, the Titans that brought him in. So it was more of a ceremonial gesture to bring him back to Tennessee. I'm not certain he was doing much statistically for the Titans. The Titans themselves weren't doing much, but adding someone who has a record, that's a resume of making plays. I think he was 3-time all first team NFL, something like that. I mean, he's got a real resume when it comes to being a wide receiver, top-notch wide receiver. And it just feels like the rich keeps getting richer with Kansas City. But that's a much-needed position. You got a lot of injuries that they have. Rice got hurt. You got Hollywood Brown got hurt. Juju Schuster-Smith is hurt right now. They are struggling when it comes to receiver spot. So that was not a ceremonial addition to their roster. They actually need a receiver. It just feels weird that Kansas City, of all people, somehow made this happen.
Yeah, so to your original question, I just think that when they have this low, I don't know what it is. The Jets didn't learn from the last time they brought in Brett Favre, right? Same situation.
You feel like the same thing with Aaron Rodgers? You feel like this is almost a parallel?
He is a dick pic away from being the same exact thing. All he has to do is send a picture of his genitalia to one of the office workers, and this is the exact same thing, right? Except for Aaron Rodgers, except for Favre didn't.
It's still October. This could happen. Normally, those type of picks are closer to the holidays.
Yeah, you never know. He's single too. He doesn't even have the holdback. Right, he doesn't even have any recourse. Oh, so I think it was a bad pick by them. They got rid of their head coach. It's kind of weird to bring in a traded receiver when you get rid of your head coach midseason. I feel like you've thrown the season away. To me, has anyone ever had a new head coach midseason and come back and win Super Bowl?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to it. I would assume that the answer to that is no, because of the continuity of a team. But also, most times when you replace a coach in the middle of the season, it's not just because you were trying to free up a parking spot. That coach wasn't doing something right. So I don't know the answer to that, but great question. I don't think that's going to happen here. We don't have any prospect of that happening in this situation. But Devontae Adams, man, shout out to him. He was the henchman. He came in and said all the things that had to be on Aaron Rodgers' mind. I would imagine that right before the game, they were together somewhere, eating fried chicken and drinking, lemonade.
Whoa. Right? Was it watermelon lemonade? Where are we going?
I like fried chicken. Hell, what you talking about? That's a great pre-game meal. My point was they were somewhere chilling, doing something relaxing. The hell with what they were eating. You're right. In 2024, maybe it was a vegan burger and some beet juice. Whatever the hell they was eating and chilling. I imagine them sitting in an area with just the two of them and Aaron Rodgers unleashing his frustration with that locker room. Because there's a lot to be made about the locker room. And I imagine Devontae Adams in his mind saying, wow, that's the kind of locker room we have here. And now, right after the game, they lose 37-15. He goes on an all-out assault, not on the performance, but on the juice and the energy, having more conviction, doing something in terms of your effort and trying to improve your effort. It sounds like he was the henchman for Aaron Rodgers. But shout out to him. I'll give you last word on it, man. I know we talked about D-Hop going to the Kansas City Chiefs. And in terms of the NFL, I'll give you last word on it. There are a lot of henchmen for hire right now. This is the type of time of year where people are jockeying for position and getting themselves in the playoff picture. Not necessarily in the playoffs, but in the playoff picture. I'll give you last word on it, man. Do you think that D-Hop is going to be the answer for Kansas City? Do you think that Davante Adams is the answer in terms of the henchman on behalf of Aaron Rodgers? And are there any other trades this week that stick out to you as we get ready to jockey for position for the playoffs? What say you?
I mean, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so I'm glad he's losing. I do like.
That's such a hater. Why? What?
Because he was coached he was the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, and he's very disrespectful. Very disrespectful when he comes to Chicago.
But then at least add, as a Bears fan, I don't like Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is a pretty good quarterback. But I get it. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry I interrupted. You don't like Aaron Rodgers. Go ahead.
Yeah, so fuck him. What were we saying?
The Davante Adams addition, does that make the roster a little bit better?
It does, but they're beyond that.
Say again?
They're beyond that.
When you lose your coach, are you beyond that? Because you're still earlier in the year.
It's early in the year, but you're already your head coach in the direction, and you're making these big trades for somebody who was I don't know why they got rid of the coach. They say that they fired him because he had a Lebanese flag on his arm, and he was. And
that's conspiracy. They've been conspiracy theorists. Yes, did say
playing in Europe, but they fired him afterwards. I just think that if you're in the, I don't know, they're in a win now scenario. Every time I watch Hard Knocks, I like the team and I like the coach. You have that phenomenon too?
I don't watch Hard Knocks, but I know people who do, and they say the same
when
thing.
you do, you kind of learn to like the team a little bit. You know, you see what they've gone through. You see the human side of them. You've gone through all their struggles. You meet their families. You kind of mess with the Jets a little bit.
Right.
Last year, they lose Aaron Rodgers and to the Achilles. And you're like, damn, okay. Not that I wanted them to win, but you just kind of wanted to see what would happen. And now this year they come back and you get rid of them, and then you bring in this big trade, and now you've got a head coach that's trying to put together something that's not really his. I don't know.
Yeah,
they're not going to win.
I'll say this, man, because let me take a step back. Today's episode is going by the title of Henchmen for Hire. If you break that down, a henchman is essentially like it's a faithful follower, right? Or political supporter, like especially one prepared to engage in whatever, crime, dishonesty, whatever they need to do. And it's under the umbrella of service, hence for hire. We're seeing a lot of that with the pundits politically. They go out and they say the things that the candidates, as we lead up to this presidential election, just can't say. They're henchmen for hire. And what I am seeing in football, and especially when it comes to the Jets, this Davante Adams addition, I thought it was purely for the football part, but he took the stance that he took in that locker room and this impassioned speech. It's like, it's cool, bro, and we respect you, but dog, you just got here. You just got here 38 seconds ago. How about you let the paint dry off on your parking spot before you start giving us these speeches? And so it just looks like Aaron Rodgers took the in the spirit of this political cycle, he took the approach of the candidate. I can't be out there saying everything because it'll come back to me. But some things need to be said. And if that is the case, shout out to Aaron Rodgers. You know, he's pretty strategic in how he moves. Pretty strategic. The other henchman for hire that we've been talking about is essentially these referees, right? These referees, not only with the no call last night in the NFL game, but in the WNBA Game 5, which is the equivalent of an NBA Game 7, right? We always say the best words in sports are Game 7. Well, Game 5 is the equivalent. A winner-take-all game to decide the championship. The WNBA attracts so many people to come to the game in Brooklyn. They attract so many eyes to watch the game. I think it was the seventh largest WNBA audience size viewership of the whole season. And with 6 seconds left to go, Breonna Stewart is driving, and they call a foul on Alana Smith that sends Breonna Stewart to the line. She makes both free throws and ties the game, goes to overtime, where New York Liberty go on and win the WNBA title. NBA stars, including LeBron James, LeBron James, weigh in on just how bad of a call it is. And again, the henchman for hire, wears black and white stripes, gets paid handsomely to essentially ruin a game. I'm not going to bring the clip in.
Refs make more than the players?
Say again?
Do you think the WNBA refs make more than the players?
No.
They might. Refs make more saving credit.
But the point is like it just seems, look, and I am bitter because of my most recent experience with a referee. So I am a coach scorned by taking this position. But damn, it don't feel right. In a game 5, winner take all, there's a championship on the line, and we have become so used to it. We've been socialized ourselves now that we are expecting the bad calls, and damn, it just doesn't feel right.
I mean, eventually, with the speed and I say accuracy that they're reviewing calls, they're going to start doing that. They're going to start making fouls. You're going to start seeing a red light go off where they call a foul from New York, especially in the playoffs. Someone's going to say, I saw it was a foul. Boo.
Do you think human error should play a role? Because they're going to be the purists that say human error has played a role in every championship of every major sport since the beginning of time. If you try to extrapolate human error from the game, then it's its own level of unfairness to all the other champions that had to endure human error of the referees. It's its own unfairness when it comes to all the other coaches that had to circumvent that and plan around it. It's its own unfairness to all of the home field advantage calls that have gone the way of the home field team for in the beginning of time, generations. Do you think human error should play a role in it? Because there is technology there to allow us to take it out.
It's where we draw the line, right? Where do you draw the line? Do we review off-ball fouls? Do we review moving screens? Do we review like at what point do we say shit? You know what I mean? Like enough is enough. Like they say, there's holding on every play. There's something on every play. And it's got to have some sort of judgment, a feel of the game. Part of the beauty of coaching and playing in a game is understanding where the refs are. Obviously, they have to be consistent, but understanding what you can do and where you let go. It's different in every game, right? Sometimes you're calling everything.
Or you just get lucky. The ref is out of position, and although you have a face mask where you almost rip a man's helmet off on Thursday Night Football in a national audience, the ref could just say I was positioned such not to see it. So even that doesn't protect you, but I get in theory what you're
like
saying.
DBs in football, hand fighting, learning how to pull a guy with your hand tight or somebody can't really see it.
Oh, now you made it personal. That's cheating.
There's skill. I'm not as a receiver. I think it's cheating, but I'm just saying there's a skill level to that, which you can do it. Push-offs and different things. You can go and find. I mean, you could never get a play go off. If you tell me a guy there's not one of those 5 guys on the front is holding every play, you're crazy. It's just whether it's outrageous. So at some point you have to have the human element of it. Baseball, I don't really see why there's a ref when it comes to balls and strikes. That could all be computer. There's really no reason why you would I can't see a good reason because the box is the box, right?
Well, the reason that exists is that because the beginning of the game, from the beginning of time, baseball's had, and I think more than all the other sports, I would argue, because every pitch has some subjectivity to it. It had human error as a part of it. And so to change it would basically be to undermine the records that you have. Baseball to me is an empirical game. It's data focused. It's all about the numbers and comparisons more than any other sport. So to take that out of the game and rely solely on technology would essentially be a different game. You'd almost have to, like people have teased, before steroids and after steroids era, you'd have to break down your records to before technology and after technology if you were to extrapolate the umpire's call on each pitch. If you were to take that from the game, it's a completely different game. For better or for worse.
I mean, can't you challenge the ball strike now? Don't you have like a certain amount of challenges with that?
I think there's a certain amount of time that you can challenge, yes.
So whatever. I mean, I don't want to see the refs out of, as much as I hate refs. I don't want to see refs out of the sport altogether. It just kind of doesn't seem right. Certain sports, you look at stuff like you complained about the refs in the youth football level, the refs having the time kept on the field.
Yeah,
right?
like that doesn't make sense. I can't make a call. I asked a man, he gave me a 2-minute warning. And I said, is the clock running? He said, yes, it's running. I then tell my quarterback, wait until you hear him start counting the play clock at 10. Then we snap the ball. We snap the ball. We run an ISO. My running back stays on his feet, goes through 1 or 2 tackles. The other team calls a timeout. I say, can I get another time check? He says it's 1:54. With the head referee, I say, man, like, bro, it's 1:54. He's like, man, he controls the clock. I said, but just mathematically, as rational men, that isn't rational. You can't go from 2 minutes in a running clock. We run a play, and at the end of that play, our ISO, he stays on his feet. We don't call the play until the play clock gets down to about 10 seconds. There is no way that there's only 6 seconds left that clock. It's just impossible. And then we lose on the last play of the game. I digress. But damn, it pisses you off when you realize that the subjectivity, which all referees own and have, is influenced by something else. I don't want to accuse my guy of being
a cheater,
by home cooking.
A damn cheater.
Yeah, damn cheat. You cheated them kids. But at the same time, I ain't no fool. I've been around football enough to know that's more than 6 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that impacts the game. I digress. Go ahead.
Maybe you misheard it. Maybe he told you 256.
I had to get that one off my chest. Thank you. I feel like you was my therapist.
But look at sports like soccer. There's only one person in soccer that knows when the game is over. In every game of soccer across the world, only one person. The ref keeps the time. He tells you extra time, and then he stops it when he feels like it. Maybe it's a minute and a half after he told you it was going to stop. There's no more sport in the world where you can cheat than soccer with the refs. It's terrible. And they live with it. I don't understand it. So we don't have it that bad in football. Our rules are a little bit more clear cut. Everything in soccer. More time. The only thing that they review in soccer is offsides, right? Everything else, it's what the ref said. It's trash.
And a goal, whether it's a goal or not, they've got technology to say if it crossed that line. They've got some technology that's more objective than subjective on the goals. But yeah, everything else is subjective.
Is it a red card or just a foul? Depends on how much the roll around you can sell the roll around. Like when you hit the ground, how much you can act like you're going to die. And then if you get up, after you get killed in soccer, you can get up and sprint down the field. That should be a red card. You're okay? It's a red card. If they don't have to come get you after I just gave you a card for that, I owe you one, man. But it doesn't matter. Soccer make you crazy.
And there are other areas, right? So go beyond sport. Right? Because this is the Ball Sports Talk where sports business and entertainment collide. In entertainment, we see it all the time. I mean, how unfair are some of these awards? You remember Susan Lucci took forever to win her Emmy from All My Children. She took forever. So many different times where she was a finalist, didn't win it. I might be messing up the award that she won, but you get what I'm saying in theory. Right? Entertainment happens all the time. The whole classic of Kanye West talking about Beyonce in the middle of Taylor Swift's acceptance is the model of subjectivity, right? It happens in business all the time, right? Like there's an interpretation that people have of certain things and in law, right? The judge gets to make decisions, that there is no more clear example of subjectivity in how they guide and decide on facts versus another judge. And we accept it. But damn, it don't feel right for sports.
No.
After all that work that you put in, all the commitment, all the sacrifice, both like long-term, big picture, off season and throughout the season, but also small picture within that game, a referee, someone who's going to get paid to be there, right? When referees not go back and forth and they try to talk trash to me, I talk a lot of trash to you football, as you probably can imagine, to the referees. I'm like, one of us is getting paid to be here. The other is volunteering. So you're going to hear my shit. You're going to hear what I got to say. You're getting paid to hear my shit. But it doesn't feel right that the same person that you are paying ends up ultimately losing the game for a particular team.
Well, sports is a zero-sum game, one of the few zero-sum games out there that we see day to day. And isn't it in some ways part of what makes it great? I've said this many times before, is the reason why people make so much money in sports, the reason why people make so much money in movies, in the entertainment industry in general, is we like to have our emotions moved one way or the other. Some people like a good cry. Some people like a good laugh. Some people like the intensity and the anxiety that gets built up, on a fourth down play and seeing it down to the last pitch. And it's a zero-sum game, right?
Right.
We like to have winners and losers. We like to do that and do whatever. And we create memories, right? You can remember the game. You call yourself excessive celebration. Why? Because when you threw up the Q sign in a game, you got penalized for that. And that's your most lasting memory from college, among other ones, but that's the one that really stuck out for you to go ahead
for fans, and I just embraced it. Yep, you're right.
You embraced it and you did that and whatever. So all these memories are made, and the refs are part of that, right? Remember that call? This was that, the other. And no matter what happens, at the end of the day, man, you need your heart to beat. You need your brain function to be going on. You need to stay alive, right? That's the long term what's important. You want your kids to grow up healthy, all that. But these memories and these emotional movements and the things and the feeling that it made, I'll never forget when I was a junior in college and we went to the Cotton Bowl and we lost to Florida State. We beat Florida State, we lost to Boston College, and we beat Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl.
Yep.
A number of guys flew back to Chicago. We had a lot of Chicago guys on the team, and we had a lot of guys who had connecting flights in Chicago. We walk off the plane. Just as we all walk off the plane, the TV right outside right outside the gate that we come out, and it says, "Hey, after this commercial break, we'll be showing the national championship game." So we're all sitting there, arms around each other. Everyone's sitting there talking. We're excited. We're thinking we won the championship. I never saw Coach Holtz let his hair down except for the night before. We were all juking at I think we were at the Anatole Hotel that year. We were all partying.
So they're about to announce who's going to be in the.
Well, this is the night before. I'm kind of jumping back. The night before the partying because we just assumed we just won our bowl game. We're 12-1 or 11-1, whatever the schedule was, and then we watched Florida State win. If Nebraska would have won, they would have been national champs. We watched Florida State win. We think we're national champs, or at least a share.
Florida State.
Because we beat Florida State, we had the same record. We both won our bowl game. This is it. We won. This is what's going. We're going crazy. Everyone allowed themselves to believe we won. And everyone's got their arms around each other. We're all sitting there waiting to see that we won the national championship. And the damn TV comes on the shows. Florida State number 1, Notre Dame number 2. And I don't want to exaggerate. Let's say there's 15 people there. We all walked off in 15 different directions. No goodbyes, no nothing. We just, like an explosion. Everyone was so dejected and turned.
And you remember it like it was yesterday.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Certain details, I can't remember whose arm who I had my arm around specifically. I just remember there was a lot of us there. I'm sure there's guys listening from that team that they were at that same gate that may have a slightly different memory. But the bottom line is the emotions of the day sunk in my head, and I'll never forget them. They're painful emotions, and there probably was 15 guys at some airport coming back from the Orange. I don't know where Florida State played that year. I think they played the Fiesta or the Orange Bowl, and they were doing the same thing, and they went nuts because they won it. Zero-sum game, moves us emotionally. Judges were part of it. The voters are part of it. The rest are part of it. A lot of humans are involved, and that's as painful as it is. It's part of the beauty of the sport.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why there's so much money involved is because we just want to see that, because the mundane life of work and paying bills, it just doesn't do enough, you know.
From your mouth to the ears of whatever fate and destiny is out there for our kids. That's an amazing story, and I'll remember losing with no time on the clock forever. And I hope that the kids use it for something good. It just feels weird that the referees, in this case, the henchmen for hire, when it came to making that decision, was a committee, right? There are people that were charged with making that decision that had their own biases. Florida State over Notre Dame. I heard a lot of the argument that, well, it was Bobby Bowden's first one. So he got a tip of the hat when he needed to, when those conversations were happening. But man, it just doesn't feel good. The henchmen for hire, people that are getting paid, that are charged with the responsibility and making informed decisions. A lot of times referees, or maybe it is the playoff committee. That's why we've had so much controversy over the years when it comes to college football. In that case, you talk about a time and an era where it was literally just a room of people making the decision. It weren't several iterations of rankings, and they didn't expand the playoffs until this year to 12 people. So the henchmen for hire, when it came to a lot of teams, you recounted Notre Dame's version of it, but there are a lot of teams. At the end of the day, the person that was in charge of making the decision allowed biases in one way or another to influence that decision. And damn, that doesn't feel good. It just feels, you really feel powerless. Same person that is getting paid to make the decisions is the same person that's letting biases influence their decision. So, no, I don't think we should get rid of human error altogether. But damn, man, we got to start making some people accountable. The WNBA, though, what I will say, shout out to them, I think did their job this year. There were a lot of eyes that were on that WNBA Finals game. And while I didn't like the call that allowed Breanna Stewart to go to the line with about 5 seconds left, make the 2 free throws, and take them into overtime, I did like seeing Barclays packed. I did like seeing on the group thread that I'm on with all of these New York Knicks fans. They was excited. Now, there's a lot of memes out there teasing New Yorkers about how the Liberty were able to do what the New York Knicks could never do, galvanize a fan base and win one for New York City. While those memes are funny, it was good to watch a group of men in this group chat going back and forth emphatically about the WNBA. It's good to know that that viewership audience was the 7th largest of the entire season. The other ones all included Caitlin Clark, the WNBA draft, which is crazy that they had that many eyes on the draft. Again, Caitlin Clark. The All-Star game, Caitlin Clark. And then there were 4 fever games that attracted a lot of the viewership. On the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide, we have talked about the upward trajectory of the entertainment value that is the WNBA. We have talked about the upward trajectory that is the business component of the WNBA with some of their most recent deals, one being a media deal, and the pure essence of the sport with the amazing development with some of these young WNBA basketball players coming from the college ranks, right? Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark come to mind right away. But if you look at Adrian Wilson, still young in her career and how well she's playing, shout out to the WNBA. Hats off to you. You've been the butt of a lot of jokes. You've been the topic of a lot of debates when it comes to, well, of course they don't make more, right? Nobody wants to see it. You've been questioned in terms of what the product is.
It's a good product.
It's a great product. Shout out to the WNBA. And we
where
celebrated it here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk before it became a trendy thing. Chatch.
Believe Mitch. I mean, where do you put Ionescu's final shot, final possession when you rank them with championship winning shots? I mean, it's she. You don't like it?
I like an I don't know because I, I think it was a great shot. I think it was a great shot by the first woman that has a signature shoe in the WNBA, which made it an even better shot because of the business components of the shot. But that's hard to do, man. you know, I, I'm going to be honest with you. Steph Curry and these Olympics making that shot over a 7-footer and like that's one of the best game-winning shots I've seen. And so I probably need a few more months removed from the Summer Olympics before I can really put.
I mean, but if you really try to think of it fairly, Ionescu gets the ball. What about 6, 7 seconds left?
Yep.
She dribbles isolation, comes out. The girl's covering her. She kicks it back. She takes a logo three. Maybe not quite logo, but logo
Very deep three. It was a deep
real
three.
deep three with the girl trying to close out. Bang to win it all.
You don't do it. You about to compare it to that Steph Curry shot. Don't you do that.
No, but I'm just saying, like, who else could do a shot like that on the men's game? And we don't talk about this as one of the most iconic shots.
Very fair.
To
Very
win
fair.
the championship game, you win for her first one, right?
It's her first one.
Her first championship game, like you said, signature shoe. She's one of the stars of the game. She's bang. That's one that goes up on when she goes into the Hall of Fame. They're gonna have to show that.
Yeah.
I don't know enough being said, and it was just as entertaining because it make or mislead, like they say about the NBA. You make it, and you're the GOAT. You miss it, and you're the GOAT. Right? Remember what they say? The GOAT used to be negative.
Go either way, baby.
Yeah, you go either way, man. Bang, hit that back, whatever. Confidence. You knew she was shooting it the whole time. She was just cooking a little bit. I don't know.
Look, in this episode, Henchmen for Hire, we're talking about several different versions of Henchmen. But when you do hire a Sabrina Ionescu to not only be the face of your franchise, but let's be honest, at this point, she's one of the upper echelon Mount Rushmore faces of the league. To make that shot in that moment with that many eyes watching, she delivered. As a killer, she delivered. Shout out to her. The WNBA, as a product, they delivered. Shout out to them. And yes, how dare I not take the opportunity as a Miami Heat fan to pile on. The New York Liberty able to do what the Knicks could never do. You sorry, garbage New York Knicks. Y'all ain't gonna never win
how
nothing.
How on earth are you going to give the Heat credit? I couldn't wait to see that. you just swing it on the Knicks. So
I saw you like, wait, how you going?
The Knicks are rivals like that?
Yeah, we hate each other.
Okay.
Yeah, we hate each other. Yeah, we have a very hate is such a strong word. We have a strong disliking for one another.
Miami and New York have so many similarities.
Well, I mean, the Snowbirds moved down there to have a better life, but they don't leave their Timberlands. They don't leave their bravado. They don't leave all of the things that you would associate. And when I say things, I don't mean good things.
Both you guys full of Puerto Ricans, Haitians, and Jamaicans.
Very fair.
Like you would think that there'd be more of a kinship.
No kinship. Dog. But shout out to New York Liberty. It was fun to watch. Let's get into the NBA because you talked about some amazing shots on the WNBA side. There's a beautiful transition. It just seemed natural. There's a beautiful transition from WNBA to NBA now. And of course, on opening night, history was made. And you hear the camera capturing this conversation between two men that have the same name.
Mm-hmm.
Different nicknames, the King and Bronny. But it's literally a father-son conversation. He's like, look, man, just, go in there. Don't worry about mistakes. Pay attention to the flow of the game. And I found myself in this weird moment, like that's a conversation you would have on the sideline with your son before he goes into an AAU game.
As a coach. Yeah,
right. They're having this conversation before Bronny checks in with his dad to a standing ovation and making history in the NBA as a self-proclaimed card carrying, very enthusiastic member of the LeBron James hater club. Ain't nothing I can hate on about that, bro. So for men to still be hating on this, go see your therapist. You cannot hate on what we just watched. A dad and his son checked into a NBA game for the franchise that's considered one of the marquee franchises in the entire NBA from a historical standpoint.
Entire sports world, yeah.
Sports world, beyond the NBA. I'll give you that. They checked into the game together. Now, Bronny was 0 for 2. I think he had one rebound in that game.
Now we're nitpicking.
I'm not nitpicking. I'm saying that.
Didn't he drop off in his 17 in a preseason game?
Preseason game, yeah. So his first regular season game, he didn't score any points. Now, the one of the 0 for 2s was LeBron James Sr., the King, driving to the basket, kicks it out to Bronny for a 3. I'm just going to say that in that moment, if Bronny would have made that 3, I might have torn up my card and removed myself from LeBron James hater club. I might even call myself a fan again. 4 years as a fan when he played for the Heat, but I moved on now because he left us high and dry. But how are grown men still upset with this? We got henchmen for hire, bro. Like some of y'all ain't even get paid. We talking about henchmen for hire, referee. We talking about henchmen for hire, killers on the roster. Some of y'all not getting paid to hate like this. How can you still hate on this?
There's a little hater in all of us, and some people have
a little hater. But damn, bro, as a human, I want to say as a dad, but I don't even think I can reserve it just to be a dad. As a dad, you had to tear up a little bit. You had to hear the mic capture LeBron James, the king, giving subtle but meaningful advice to his son. Not before he go to an AAU game. Not before he went into a high school game. No, he's giving them that advice before they go to the scorer's table and check into an NBA game together. You gotta tear up as a dad, right?
Yeah.
And there are still people that are upset by this.
Yeah, there'll always be. But that's fine.
It
is fine. It is fine. Get some more haters. What they always say, if you have some haters, you got to get some more. You know, just go.
Nah, y'all
LeBron has been an amazing dad. You know, He hasn't shamed his family. He hasn't done anything. Some people don't like his politics, whatever. You know, you're gonna say whatever, but he's been a stand-up guy, stand-up individual. He's raised his son right. You know, his son was dead a year and a half ago. He died, came back. Now he's in the NBA, and he's out here playing. He's got another son that's coming behind him. You never know. I don't know how many years Bron's got left, but he might be able to wait him out too. And they could be like the Ball brothers plus dad. But I don't know. I think it's pretty awesome. I do hope that Bronny steps up and does, has a big game and really doesn't look like it's total daddy ball. But if it is, oh well. I see unfairness around me every day of my life. So
the show is based on unfairness.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the referees and not only getting the check, but having a dog in the fight a lot of times. It's based on unfairness. We started by saying, and I had to accept life isn't fair. I just don't understand why people have so much vitriol when they are spewing these things about this moment. Do we just hate seeing things that are like family-like?
Mm-hmm.
What? And I've asked people because it's tough for me to have the conversation as a LeBron hater. I am a LeBron hater, and I do not like LeBron because he left the Miami Heat after them 4 years, and I have an issue with that. So it's tough for me when I'm hearing idiots take issue with Bronny being in the NBA because I find myself in this unenviable position where it's like, yo, I'm a hater, but damn, y'all sound crazy.
But you guys are taking it too far.
You're taking it too far. I find myself defending
Mine is garden variety hate. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the hate. You can get my kind of hate off the shelf. They
You
sell
gonna
them
give me?
packages of
I'm a
3.
misdemeanor.
They never go on sale, but they have this kind of hate. But
They
your
gonna
hate,
give me
you
a
had to special
fine.
order your hate. You had to talk to the butcher, and you had to show him you had to draw him a picture of what your hate looks like.
It's egregious. There's levels to this. You got some of you are felony level haters. To hate on a man having that conversation with his child, such that we all should be teared up because it is the example of what Black fatherhood should be.
Yeah.
And then to continue your hate and mad that this young man has literally resuscitated his life from the heart condition that he had, but also put himself in position because there was a lot of commitment that young man had to make to his game to get in that position, because he is scrutinized more than anybody when it comes to putting the ball in the basket on the floor and putting the ball in the basket. To continue and double down with hate there, you need a hug, man. You need a hug. That's all I'll say. Some people need a hug. Shout out to the first father-son duo to be on the court at the same time. Shout out to the James family, because while we are seeing in real time with the cameras and all of the like what the dad's reaction is, right? That space that it's a little easier for LeBron James Sr. LeBron James to deal with that, because that's his space. That's his environment. Imagine what mom is thinking. Imagine what grandma's thinking. They can't help out on the court. That's not their environment. They're hearing all of the backlash. They're dealing with all the haters. And this kid is 19 years old.
Mm-hmm. And
shout out to the James family, man.
That's old for LeBron James to enter the NBA. All right, how old was he? 17, 18 when he got in?
LeBron got in at 18. Bronny got in, I think, at 19. But shout out to the whole family, man. Hats off to y'all. I just wanted to say, in the midst of all the hate, just know that the henchmen for hire, right, that we're referring to, these henchmen that are trying to break down family values, that are trying to tear down a legacy, that are trying to make reasonable thinking people that have a heart question this amazing moment in sports, just know that they are unsuccessful. Even the haters amongst us, not the felony level haters, the misdemeanor level haters, appreciate what we saw with opening night and seeing LeBron James Sr. and LeBron James Jr., two Black men, father and son, go onto that court at the same time. Nothing short of brilliant. I'll give you last word.
Lakers with 6.
Oh, Lakers ain't gonna win nothing. Lakers ain't gonna. Now I can get back to my hate. I get back to my hate now. Lakers ain't gonna win nothing.
Don't let these fools mess around and make a playoff run. Y'all can't talk to me.
So many great pictures though of them on the court at the same time.
I said you get last and word. Then his dad got to return the favor, throw him a oop back.
Throw a oop.
Yeah. You know, LeBron would jump up to the rafters and catch that thing if his son tries to throw him.
There is no pass too high.
He will go get it.
In all seriousness, though, man, I'll get off the top.
What if it's a scrap? What happens if somebody tries to lock him up and tries to fight Ronnie?
I mean, you know the business.
He's going.
You know the business. All I would do is ask you to substitute LeBron James Jr. and LeBron James Sr. for Reggie Freeman Jr. and Larry. You know what's gonna happen.
I'm coming. Who's with me? I'm coming elbows first.
I just don't know who else coming. You're fighting both of them. Absolutely. But shout out to them, man. In all seriousness, I'll just say this, man. In a world that depicts, in a society, not a world, but largely it could be the world, but I'll just specifically talk about our society that depicts Black men in some of the most embarrassing ways. We've been typecasted in Hollywood, because this is where sports business and entertainment collide, as pimps, killers, anything and everything, as womanizers,
cat eaters, dog eaters.
These images that are so widely dispersed that the typecast makes more sense than a hardworking corporate dad. In this same country, to know that we have so many people that are being derogatory and tearing down this image that we see of a father and a son living a dream together. I just ask that those of us who are sensible, we don't add on to that. Let's be smart. Let's not be henchmen for hire when it comes to that narrative. Let's get out of here with this, man, because we've got, I think, when you look at matchups, we've probably got a Field of Dreams type World Series. You got the Yankees and Aaron Judge playing the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani. You got the East Coast and West Coast. You got Tupac and Biggie. You got the Dodgers and the Yankees. You got the two best players, maybe in this generation, but also arguably Ohtani, I don't think isn't even arguable. But Aaron Judge is up there too, of all time. This is MLB's moment.
Yes.
Do you think that they seize it? Game 1's tonight. Do you think Major League Baseball finally finds their way back into the conversation of barbershops, back into the conversation in Thanksgiving Day tables, right? You would be laughed at in barbershops if you talked about baseball during a certain era. But now it's back. Do you think that the henchmen, the two guys that have carried Major League Baseball on their shoulders for the last several years, do you think these henchmen for hire will deliver and give this World Series the boost of energy that it needs to bring fans back in domestically, globally? Will we finally start talking about baseball like we talk about all the other four major sports or three major sports? Because the NHL, to me, right now, got more juice than MLB. Is this the time that the henchmen for hire, Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, do what for baseball no one else has been able to do, especially during the steroids era? Do you think this happens in this moment with these two henchmen for hire?
I think this is going to be the biggest watched World Series in a long time. I'm thinking about how I can find a way to sneak a game in today because, I don't care that much about I don't care nothing about baseball, but this Shohei Ohtani guys is really a sight to see, and his accomplishments are ridiculous.
He's Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders, Tom Brady, Brett Favre. He's all of it in one, right? Like
it was. He's injured.
He's such an
injured.
He's
on IR. Hey, look, this dude is on IR for offense, so he's just going to have, or for defense, he's on IR, so he's just going to play offense at an MVP level while he heals up his IR muscle. So I think that's crazy. Again, every sport was excited to have two coasts represented in their championship game. Every sport. It could not get better than LA and New York, the two biggest markets that you got out there. And then you got two guys who are going to be the MVPs of their AL, American League and the National League. So those guys should be the odds-on favorite. The question I have is, does it even hurt Ohtani's legacy if they don't win it? Do baseball guys get judged the same way?
His stats are so mind-boggling. Like, I want to compare him to Dan Marino in terms of statistical output and not winning a championship, but that would be such an insult to Shohei Ohtani. Think about that.
But does baseball have the same scrutiny? When you think about, is there a baseball player in the world on any time, any team that can impact the game to the same level? I mean, even as a pitcher, you still don't even get to pitch every game. There is no sport that comes to mind where nobody has the impact that they do in a basketball game or a football game. There is no room for a Tom Brady or a Michael Jordan on baseball. Because I would say, who would that person be? Who would you say is the best ever? If you don't take Ohtani out of it, like going back. Even Barry Bonds, here's this great player that had a Hall of Fame career. Then he did steroids and had a Hall of Fame career of steroids that separate the two careers, and they're both Hall of Fame. he's still one hitter out of a lineup of 9. So you can only, you can't get an extra hit in there, right? And then you can only catch the ball when it comes to you and make outs when it comes to you. So you just don't, the game isn't designed. And if you're a pitcher, you can't pitch every game. The game isn't designed to have a player that's going to be that I think you can judge on championships the same way you can in football. Even though Tom Brady can't play defense, I
Yeah,
guess in
but
basketball
you got to
it's different.
admit, I agree with you. But and the big but is both of these teams, from a front office perspective, were constructed to win. So there's no surprise that these are the two teams left standing for this World Series. And I think when the debate and the legacy conversations start to come about, one of the things that, and I'll go to other sports, one of the things that detractors use for LeBron James is, but he was on these teams that were constructed to win. One of the things that like the whole idea of the front office putting around that superstar a team that is constructed to win, I think does come into play when you're having legacy conversations about championships. But having said that, there are very few exceptions to the rule. I think Shohei Ohtani is one of them because they aren't anything without him, and he's only playing sort of half of what he can do because of an injury. So I don't know that this World Series is that closely attached to his legacy, to be honest, because of the asterisks that you have to put on the season with his injury.
Fair. I think that's part of it. I think just the nature of the game in general is part of it too. I don't know who else gets judged by their World Series and not World Series. But it's a good one. I'm gonna try to watch some of the game tonight at least.
All right. So you going Dodgers or Yankees? Who you picking?
I don't like the Yankees. I'm going Dodgers.
You going Dodgers? All right. In that case, naturally, I'm going Yankees. Not only because
I think you just sealed it for the Dodgers. Thank you.
Not only because I'm a contrarian. You know what? My recent history of losing these close games is, you might be right. Not only because I'm a contrarian, but a lot of my coworkers and neighbors are all Yankees fans, and there's a local bar here, pizzeria, family bar that I'll probably frequent since this is our first weekend without a game. So I'll probably frequent the pizzeria and watch the game. So go Yankees. How about that? Let's get out of here with college football, man. The Texas fans got a real good dose of what that SEC be like. Georgia comes to town and opens one of them good old cans of ass whooping, or whoop ass. And the fans were so irate and upset that they were throwing debris and trash onto the field while the play was going on. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that. And I thought Texas was ready for the big times, but they looked a little out of sorts, both on the field and as a fan base. A lot of eyes were on that game. Texas fans got to do better. What do you have for college football? Is anything you're looking forward to? We know Notre Dame is playing Navy tomorrow, and that's a 12 p.m. kickoff. That means I'm going to be drinking early.
That's a big game.
That's a big game. Navy is ranked 24. Navy has found undefeated, but they have found the fountain of youth when it comes to their triple option football. This is not your granddaddy's triple option. They will throw the ball on you. Should be a good game, but the irony of Notre Dame's hopes of going to the college football playoffs resting on not one but two service academies, because those are the last two teams that they have on their schedule that are ranked. Navy is ranked. Army, being undefeated as well, is ranked. They play them in 2 weeks. So that's one game I'll be looking forward to, and I will be down there at MetLife Stadium getting a chance to go to the game and see some Notre Dame alums. So looking forward to that. Anything else on the college football landscape this week? We've seen a lot of upsets over the last 2 weeks. We've seen a lot of juggling and movements. We've seen basically the complete deterioration of Alabama in a very short amount of time. Anything else you're looking forward to in college football this week before we get out of here?
I mean, I just look at this, I guess a general statement is I think the timing of this expansion of the playoffs is just, it couldn't be better. Like right now, you can look at Oregon and say, all right, well, they're the number one team right now, kind of by default. People said that about Texas a week ago, but it definitely goes beyond 4. You'd be a fool to count Alabama out all the way. Georgia's got a loss. You can't count them out. Ohio State's got a loss. You can't count them out. Um, who knows if Oregon loses one along the way? You never know. These are big Power 5 conferences or Power 4 conferences. You could have some upsets. Iowa State, no one would ever think of them as somebody who's going to be in the top 4, but they're doing very well. I think there's just a lot of teams out there. BYU is doing very well. Notre Dame, I think, is on pace to try to make it. There's just so many teams you can't count out. Um, most years Notre Dame lost to NIU that early in the season would just be written off as a fluke.
It'll be over. It would be over. Yep.
Well, no, but I'm saying they would call that a fluke loss by the end when they start arguing about whether they should be in. But top 12, we can figure that out. And I think when you go top 12, I don't know who's going to win. So I love the state of college football when it comes to this, with the playoffs. The parity's starting to get ridiculous. So I look forward to another upset this week. I like seeing people lose, not called Notre Dame. And we'll see what happens.
I can't wait because the Ball Hawk Sports Talk was sports business and entertainment, Clyde. I can't wait to see what the viewership numbers are on those earlier college football playoff games. I'm looking forward to seeing what ticket sales and viewership will be for those earlier games because if you recall, over the last several years, there has been this shift in terms of the power structure. The players have had the power when it came to the less meaningful bowl games, such that first round, if you're projected to go first 10 or first round, agents have advised and the college football programs have accepted that some of those players aren't going to play in the bowl game, a la Florida State last year when they got drubbed. That was a completely different team. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what those early playoff games look like as the teams are progressing towards getting to what has been the Final Four for the last several college championship iterations. So we'll keep our eye on that as a Ball Hawk Sports Talk crew. Before we get out of here, we'll do it like this because it's been a great show. We started off talking about, the youth football game that we lost. And I'll bring it full circle, not to complain more about losing and the referees cheating us, but to be very pointed about my position as a youth football coach. First, I put the very first comment, I put the raffle in there. I challenge all of you guys. You spend $7.50, you can help these kids go to Florida, buy uniforms. We're going to do a dinner with shirt and tie and all of these things, trying to get an etiquette course for these young men as they are getting ready for high school. And then second, the getting ready for high school is we're preparing these kids that are playing 13U for the conversations they're going to have with some of the top high school programs in New Jersey. Preparing them for what they need to be doing when they get there, preparing them for making sure that they don't allow their 4 years to be consumed and used without getting some value beyond whatever they are as an athlete. It's a blessing. So that brings me to third. The Henchmen for hire that we initially started talking about was the referees. But I, too, raise my hand and say I'm a henchman for hire. Now, I ain't getting paid nothing. I'm volunteering. But the henchman part of it is, remember we talked about like a faithful follower, a political supporter, somebody prepared to engage in anything by way of service. As a youth football coach, I'm indeed a henchman for hire and willing to engage in anything by way of service on behalf of these young people, a lot of which do not have the support system that you and I have, Big Flow Show. They don't live in the same lifestyles that we have. They don't have the same support system. They don't have the same opportunities. And so for that, I'm a henchman for hire. And while, yes, I want you all to support the raffle and follow our kids and help them seek opportunities, the biggest mandate I have in this role is to teach them how to overcome their adversities. Life isn't fair. Use all of these for something good. And with that, I am blessed to be in this role. So I wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys, how even in this adversity, the refs cheating us, my mandate, my job still holds true. So I encourage some of you who have the time, some of y'all empty nesters, man, go coach again. Go volunteer. All right? You're going to be an empty nester soon, Big Flow Show.
And I'm not coaching nobody. Nobody.
Some of you guys that sit on the couch and scream out all of the X's and O's as you watch your team, whether it be your college team, your NFL team. Go coach. You Monday morning quarterbacks that can tell you can say every single reason why your team lost. You Monday morning quarterbacks. Go coach. Some of you gamers that swear, can't nobody beat me in Madden, can't nobody beat me in college football. I got the best X's and O's. Go coach. There's a kid out there that needs you. So go be a henchman for hire. Give you last word before we get out of here, my guy. Anything?
No, just look forward to good weekend of college football. Hope we get the weather holds out. We're headed out to Iowa. Hopefully the Iowa guys got some good weather for us. Besides that, I hope my fantasy teams come up 5 or how many weeks have we been in fantasy? 6 weeks. I'm on a 6-week slump. I need to catch a dub.
I ain't even looking at it, man. I can't lie to you, bro.
Nobody.
I'm coaching.
But no, I'm good, man. It's been a great show.
Great show, my
Everybody,
brother.
just want to point out again, we have problems with the comments.
Yeah, comments.
I'll go back on Facebook later and stuff, and I'll see a bunch of comments. Right now, we saw 2 comments. Three comments if you include Bobby's, and that's it. So we are not ignoring you. I got a few text messages. Some were a little bit too long to get through and be able to react to, but we're sorry. We just are not getting comments for some reason.
We'll figure it out. But in the meantime, man, we gonna have to endure the referees this weekend as you watch your team. We gonna have to endure the conspiracy theories like they cheating. We're gonna have to endure all of it because that's a part of sport. It is human error at the core. Talk about these referees. But still a beautiful thing, man. That's why we make sure it's sports, business, and entertainment here at the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where 2 businessmen get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. You have had with you, the Big Flow Show is in the building from the Middle Coast. Did his thing as always. I am your boy, B Brown ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy, a.k.a. the Councilman, a.k.a. Coach Bobby, a.k.a. a man that is indebted forever for all of the support that you guys provide to us. So I ask humbly again, please like, please comment, please share, please tag a friend, please tag a foe, please tag anybody you know, and please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast. It's been a great show. Henchmen for hire. You know what it is. If you need to, listen back slowly and closely because you're going to find a gem or 2 in there. That's just what we do. Enjoy the sports weekend, business and entertainment. Enjoy all of it. But make sure that you come back next Friday for another episode of the Ball Hog Sports Talk. And with that, boys and girls, cats and rats, dogs and frogs, we is out. Peace.